Hello, Natalie. How are you? So good to see you.
Hi, Robertson.
Hi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. How are you?
Good to hear your voice. I can't say good to see you because I don't see. How is everything?
Baruch
Preparing for the Chagim.
Yes, not yet, but we'll do so soon. I'm actually, I actually got COVID right now, even though I was vaccinated, but I have very mild symptoms, very mild.
When did you get the vaccine?
The second shot was in April.
In April, and now you got it?
Yeah. But it's very mild, like just
How did you know that you got COVID?
because somebody else I was near, that person had it,
And you tested?
and I tested. It's interesting, like everyone should know, the rapid test came back negative 3 times.
Me too. I had it last week and I was symptomatic when I took the rapid and it came out negative, and I'm not vaccinated. I wasn't vaccinated. But I did a rapid twice and it was negative.
And the PCR was positive.
Yeah, so I wanted to go get the antibody treatment because they say if you get it right away, it's helpful. So I needed a positive test. So I went straight to St. Francis Hospital. I think everyone should know this. And they do a 1-hour PCR. So I went straight there and that came positive. And right away, they gave me the antibody infusion. They just took me in and did it. And I came home.
Yeah, I also got the antibody infusion. And,
Even though you have the vaccine, you got the antibody infusion?
yeah.
How bad were your symptoms that they gave you the infusion?
I'm okay now, Baruch Hashem. I'm just, I feel lethargic. I don't have too much energy, but I'm okay. I'm okay, Baruch Hashem.
They give the antibody like to anyone. Like it doesn't have to be like, I mean, I don't know if you're, they asked me, are you vaccinated? I said no. So immediately they took me as an inpatient and they did the PCR quicker. Like they did a 1-hour instead of a 6-hour. And, but I think they just give it to anyone who has COVID.
Mm. You didn't have to do with a doctor referral?
No, they just, they just like said, oh, you're positive. We have the monoclonal antibody treatment. Would you like to do it? I said, yes, please. And my husband also, like he had it a few days before me and then I got it. So he went right away and they just did it.
Wow.
Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, thank God.
Crazy. It's such a crazy world.
Yeah.
It's so, the unknown, it's so like,
Nothing is normal anymore.
I feel frozen for the
Yeah,
past
right?
year and a half. Mamash frozen.
So it's very difficult to be positive, Robertson.
To tell you the truth, it's not about being positive. I mind the fact that certain things, but much of it was nice.
Yeah.
But the frozen, the unknown, the
Right.
fact that you cannot plan, not even for next year,
Right.
that you have a bar mitzvah coming up and you cannot plan it, and you have a wedding and you cannot plan it, and
Right.
kids are supposed to go to school and you don't know if they're going or not, and that's the
Right.
part that is so difficult.
Right. Right. I agree with you.
You know, Rabbi Islarish, the one who wrote not the Shulchan Aruch, not the Mishnah Berurah, I forgot, I don't know. So he said, En simcha kehatarat sfekot. There is no greater joy than removing the doubts.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt is what keeps us as if tied in a rope, that you feel that you can't function, you can't do anything. That's so difficult.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, that sounds just on the point. That's right.
yeah. Okay. So let's start. B'Shem Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. So today we're going to do chapter 28, which we're going to learn how to talk to ourselves because of what we learn from Shabbat Kodesh. So the title of the chapter is Self-Talk on Shabbat, the Day of Serenity. So what happens when Shabbat comes? When Shabbat comes, it's the day that we celebrate the creation of the universe. It's the day of inner peace, serenity. It's the day that we are told to consider all the mundane work as if it's already done. Like we say in the Kiddush of Friday night, what do we say? אשר ברא אלוקים לעשות מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu ceased from everything that he was creating. That's it. Now it's all done. Nothing else to be done from now on. So just sit and relax and enjoy. It's all done. When Shabbat comes, that's exactly how we are supposed to feel. Whatever you got done before candlelighting, good for you. Whatever you did not get done before candlelighting, you have a choice. Either enjoy the serenity and the peacefulness of Shabbat, or make yourself miserable. But then there is nothing you can do. Nothing you can do, even if you did not get it done. There is nothing you can do. If you didn't cook, you'll have to open a can of sardines and a can of corn and eat that. There is nothing you can do. Even if you don't have bread, you can't. You know, here in Great Neck, Baruch Hashem, we have eruv. Some people use it, some people don't. Not that there is a problem with it, but in general, not everyone uses an eruv, even if it's perfectly good, because even the perfectly good one for Sfaradim could be a little bit of an issue. So let's think about if there is no eruv. What happens if Shabbat comes and you realize you have no bread? So you don't have bread to make a motzia. If you don't have one, you can't even go to your neighbors and borrow, because there is no eruv, unless there is a goyet or whatever. But basically, Shabbat comes and it's either done or it's not happening. That's what Shabbat is all about. And you know what? It's so amazing that during the week, I wake up when my husband gets up, 3:30, 4 o'clock. I check my phone. I wake up again an hour later. I check my phone. I fall asleep. And like this several times. Shabbat morning, no problem. I could sleep till 9. Nothing wakes me up. Why? Because it's just the menucha of Shabbat. It's that mindset that there is nothing. Shabbat, there is nothing. There is nothing to worry about. There is nothing that maybe I should take care of. Nothing that maybe I should know. That nothing. Shabbat came, nothing. Me'en olam haba. You know what does it mean, me'en olam haba? It's like olam haba. Now I'm going to say a little bit of a joke. It says, if you're dead, you can't do anything anymore. Just like after we die, there is nothing we can do. Now Shabbat came. Either you did it before or that's it. You can't do it anymore. Shabbat. You forgot to put the food on the fire, you have to eat it cold. You forgot to buy bread, you don't have bread. You didn't make it, you don't have, that's it. Shabbat came, me'en olam haba. It's as if afterlife. You had the whole week to do, to run, to worry, to prepare. Shabbat came, you're done. And not just that it is done, we are also supposed to learn to reach that level of peacefulness that when Shabbat comes, just enjoy. It's not that if you didn't prepare, then cry. No. The Gemara tells us even about the wife of one of the Tanaim, that she was notified that her sons were under a house that fell and they were killed. Her husband came home. She did not mention a word to him. She said, Shabbat, I'm not going to make him upset. To that extent. Why? Because Shabbat is a different world. Shabbat is a different world. We are not here. As if we're already in Olam Haba. In Olam Haba, anything worries you? No. Because everything by then is clear, is obvious. There is no more doubts, no more questions. So is Shabbat. So now, if we learn to keep the Shabbat the way we are supposed to keep the Shabbat, worry-free, stress-free, because there is nothing you can do anyways. Even Shabbat, we don't even daven for the sick on Shabbat. It says, Shabbat milizok u'refuah krova. On Shabbat, you don't cry, and the refuah comes. So Shabbat, we don't even pray for the sick people. We pray by candle lighting because it's still not Shabbat. Yes, in the shul, in the Kenisa, they make the Mishe Berach, but we don't sit and make Tehillim groups on Shabbat. And no, to read Tehillim, you can. Of course, when you read Tehillim, you read it for a lot of good things, but specifically for the sick, no, we don't do that on Shabbat. Why? Because Shabbat, we're in Olam Haba, we're in a different world. We don't think about anything sad. We don't think about anything that makes us worried. Shabbat. Now, if we actually get to learn to live the Shabbat that way, that when Shabbat comes, it's a disconnection from the mundane, from all the stress, from the business. You don't think on Shabbat, I should have done this. I should remember to do that after Shabbat. I should remember to call so-and-so. Oh, I didn't get to take care of this. Shabbat, we don't. You are allowed, it says specifically, you're allowed to talk about improvements of the community. That's why you're allowed to sell daliot on Shabbat. How come you're allowed to sell daliot on Shabbat? You're talking money, you're bidding, how come? Because that is for the community. For the community's benefit, let's say if you want to open a school, if you want to open a children's afternoon group for them to have something to, that you're allowed to, for the community. Shidduchim, you're allowed to do on Shabbat. There are certain things you're allowed to, but the regular mundane business, nothing. As if it doesn't exist, as if we're done with that business. Me'en olam haba, as if we left this world already. Now, once we learn how to lishbot et HaShabbat, you can't translate it in English. Lishbot means to, you know how when people decide not to go to work, what do you call it? When they have when all the workers get together and they say, I'm not going to show up to work. What is that called?
Strike.
A strike, thank you. So lishbot, shvita is a strike. Lishbot means I'm not going to work, I'm sitting, like lashevet. That's what Shabbat is. I'm a strike. There is no work. I'm sitting. So a person who knows how to lishbot at the Shabbat, how to sit and relax and enjoy the Shabbat, from that, we could learn something very big. Why? Because just like you need to exercise here to say, no, I shouldn't worry. I shouldn't think about the business. Why? Because anyways, there is nothing I can do. So just take it out of my mind. Once we 1/7, even more than 1/7 out of our life, we live like that, worry-free, sadness-free. We remove all of that. It doesn't exist. Shabbat, there is nothing to worry about. There is no pain. There is no sick. There is no, nothing. On my Shabbat table, anytime we start talking about COVID, my husband says there is no COVID on Shabbat. We don't talk about this on the Shabbat table. It doesn't exist on Shabbat. It's not what we discuss. Okay, so Shabbat, we live in a different world. Now, that same power that we use on our brain to be able to say, I don't want to think about it, or I cannot think about it now, we can, after we practice it so many times in our life, every 7th day we practice it, we can learn from it how to do it during the weekday also about things that make no difference to us. To worry, they make a difference in general. Let's say there is someone that you love and that person is suffering. So of course it brings you suffering, but ask yourself, if you're going to sit in agony, in pain, is that person getting any benefits from it? No. Do you get any benefit from it? No. Would you be able to come up with a way to help this person if you're in agony, or if you remove the agony and put yourself in a good mood? Which way would you be able to help the situation more? Most people work better when their mind is clean, present, positive. They can come up with idea. Oh, maybe I could send them flowers. Oh, maybe I could make cookies and send them. But if we're sitting in agony, we don't think like that. So we can't even think of how to put a smile on this person who needs us so desperately. So the practice that we get every Shabbat on being worry-free, stress-free, concern-free, misery-free, that we have to learn to take it into practice during the day. Once we learn that right now being in agony or being under stress will not help me in any way, shape, or form, therefore I might as well give myself peace, because with peace I'll be able to function so much better, and it's going to be so much more helpful. Now, so a person might think, Avigail, you're saying that we should do this on Shabbat, but I'm not like that. That's maybe for the big rabbi. But I still worry on Shabbat, and I still. So let's all be aware and know that this is something to get there. It takes many, many years of work. And that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us many years of work, because if he would give us, if our work would be something we could accomplish in just a couple years, then we wouldn't need to live for more than a couple years. If Hashem gives us an average of 80, 90, hopefully more, my sister reminded me that I had one, my grandmother's grandmother lived to 120. It says that on her grave, that she lived 120 years, inshallah, for all of us, in good health and clear mind. So why do we need 120 years? If you can get your job done in 20 years, what do you need 120 for? And the answer is because it takes a very long time. When we're 30 years old, let's start when we're children. There is certain things that we're trying to adjust ourselves to learn, things that are so important to us when we're 14. When we're 17, they're not important anymore, and there is other things that count. And then we become in our 20s, and so many things are so important. And then when we become 40, we see that maybe it wasn't so important. There is other things. And as we move on in life, many things that were so important to us, not that they become not important, but we learn to accept them. Things that we would fight about and argue about, we learn that there is no point to argue. But wait, in 10 years they'll get it. Now, as much as you'll try to understand it, they're not going to get it. It's not possible. The proof, I didn't get it either. And all the people my age couldn't get it back then. We would all have discussions and all have the same complaints about our parents and our in-laws and our previous generation. And then we get there. And it's the same thing. You know, there are studies that show that when they see history books of 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, the children have the same complaints about their parents as we do today. And the parents have the same complaints about their children the way we do today. And it's all the same. It's all the same. We think things change. Shlomo HaMelech said many years ago, En chadash tachat hashemesh. There is nothing new under the sun. So what makes us think that there is new things all the time? Because that's the geniusity of the Ribono Shel Olam. Because if it's all the same, it's going to be very depressing. So every day we think we learned something new, and we accomplished something new, and we discovered America or whatever we discovered. But in reality, it's just that we have to get there to be able to see it and understand it. And because it takes those many days and months and years to be able to understand certain things, that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us life. So we should not be discouraged when we learn about what true serenity is, what true peace of mind is, what it means to feel the Shabbat, to understand that Shabbat is a day to really be disconnected from Olam Hazeh, from all this world, and really just be as if you are in a different world. And a person might say, but how come I'm not there? I'm not good enough. No, it's not that I'm not good enough. It means that Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us many more years to be able to work on it and work on it But yes, we have to work on it. We have to want it. We have to get there, Bezat Hashem. And as we learn how to enjoy the Shabbat and how to disconnect on Shabbat, as we learn that, we could take that into our daily lives, into our weekday life. Once you exercise something, let's say people lift weights, right? So when they're able to lift 50-pound weights and it's not hard for them, then if you tell them to pick up the shopping bags and the shopping bag is 50 weights, that's also not hard. How come the bags from shopping are not heavy? Because they practice on the weights. The same thing here. We practice on Shabbat, how to not worry, how to not be miserable, how to be besimcha, how to think that everything is taken care of and done. And that strength of our mind, we could take it into the weekday. Of course, when it's time to go to work, you shouldn't think that it's all done. You have to go work. And when it's time to cook, you shouldn't think it's Shabbat and therefore you shouldn't cook and just open a can of tuna fish. No. So on the weekday, do what you have to do. But whatever is not in your power to do, whatever you're not able to do, and you know you're limited, instead of being stressed, instead of feeling that you are good for nothing, that you are not focusing properly, not managing properly, etc. Instead, that is the time to say that I'll do what I can, and whatever I cannot do, then remove your mind from that stress or that unpleasantness or whatever it is. Second. Another thing we should learn on Shabbat, practice it on Shabbat, and apply it as much as possible during the week. That Shabbat, we should not get angry. We should not think about things that make us angry. We should not worry about things that make us anxious. And all that is things that on Shabbat, we learn how to do it. And then during the week, we more and more can practice it and apply it whenever needed. Learning to be calm, inner peace, all these are the qualities of Shabbat. And then when we are actually successful, celebrate that. Say, I was able to achieve that moment of serenity. I was able to relax this Shabbat. I was able to enjoy the worry-free and nothing to do this Shabbat. Not just that, but think about it this way. Shabbat is a day that we wear as if we're going to the nicest party. We are wearing clothes as if you're really going to a wedding, going to something very special. We eat food the best for Shabbat. We prepare as if, you know what, Shabbat food is better than the food you get to eat at a wedding. Much better, much more tastier and better food. And what is that for? It's for us to celebrate the creation of the universe. On Shabbat, we celebrate the celebration, the creation of the world. Chazal tell us, Chayav kol adam lomar b'chol yom, a person has to say every single day, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, the world was created just for me. Some people think, what? Isn't that arrogance? To think the entire world was created for me? So what does that mean? That if there is so many people in the world and everyone has such difficult roles in life and so many hardships, and it's all for me, so I would have my place in this game of chess? And the answer is yes. I was created for them also. But everyone and everything was created for me to have my part in this scene. Think of the whole world as being a Broadway show, and as if the whole Broadway, all the jobs there, everything was created for me to have my part. That's big, right? That's huge. That's really huge to think about it in like that the whole entire world was created just for me to have this moment, to have this life, not just this moment. So what does that mean? Where do we take this understanding of Shabbat being the day that I celebrate that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world just for me, just for me? When we understand that something was done just for us, it gives us a responsibility. If it was created, all of it, just for me, I have to perform. I have to perform too. And what's very important is that when we come to the realization that the world was created for me, now we have a choice to either look at ourselves and say, and I'm horrible. I'm not doing what I was created to do. I was given so much abilities, talents, good health, nice family. You mentioned it. Some people might say certain things the opposite. I wasn't given, but it doesn't matter. Whatever we were given or not given, we could look at ourselves and say, how come I'm so lazy and I'm not doing everything that I was created to do, that I'm meant to do? Now, we should know that this style of thinking is not going to take us to anywhere good. It is going to discourage us from doing more. That is the way the Satan talks to us. The Yetzer Hara tells us to view ourselves as no good. So let's take the example of this woman that for a very long time she wants to organize her closet. And every day that she sits and does nothing important for an hour or two, then she goes, I'm so horrible. I had 2 hours, I wasted them. Why didn't I go to organize my closet? I should have gone to clean up my closet. Why did I do nothing during that time? And she makes herself feel bad. Now, feeling bad, will that make her clean it up tomorrow? Most probably not. But instead, if she will tell herself, well, if I didn't do it today, most probably it's because I need the little rest. But you know what, tomorrow I'll really push myself to do it because I really want it done. So by not putting yourself down, but instead loving yourself and accepting yourself with our chesronot. Because remember what we said before, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us many, many years to get there. Yes, we shouldn't waste our time. And a person should not think, I don't have to work on it today. I'll do it next year. Now, it says that in Pirkei Avot, whoever says echtav v'ashuv, not in Pirkei Avot, I'm sorry. I think it's the Malbim, the Rambam. It says whoever says I'm going to do wrong and then I'll do tshuva, and מספיקים בידו לעשות tshuva. They don't give him the opportunity, they don't give him a chance to do tshuva. Either he gets too used to whatever he does, or he gets involved with friends that don't let him do tshuva, or lo alenu, he doesn't make it to those years where he was planning to do tshuva when he is 85, he doesn't make it there, or maybe he loses his mind by there, or whatever. So to say, now let me chill and enjoy my life and I'll fix things later, that is not. But if we tried today, and we really wanted to get off the couch and clean that closet, but we didn't. So instead of hating myself, I should say, it's good you rested today. Tomorrow you'll have the strength to go and clean up the closet. Say it in a positive way. Say it to yourself in an encouraging way. Just like if you tell your child, you're so lazy, why don't you get up and clean? Most probably he will not clean. And if you tell him, I'm so happy you're resting now, this way soon you'll be able to get up and clean, then there is a lot more chance that he will, right? We should talk to ourselves in the same way. So whenever we are not exactly sure that we're in the right track, do it in the positive way. Ilana, you had a question?
No, it was clapping. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. So again, so we're going to review a little bit. Shabbat comes, and Shabbat we practice serenity, calm. There is no being sad, there is no being worried, there is no thinking what I should still do and what I forgot to do. Whatever is you got to do is done. Whatever you didn't do, you cannot do. Me'en olam haba. Just like after a person dies, that whatever he didn't do, he can't do it anymore. Same thing when Shabbat comes. And then we have to practice being calm and being happy as if it is all done in the most perfect way. Even if you're going to have to open a can of tuna, you're going to sit by the Shabbat table as if you have roast beef. Why? Because it's Shabbat. So whatever there is now you're going to celebrate as if you're the queen of the world and you're sitting by the nicest table and you're going to wear the best clothes that you have, and you're going to act as if it's the happiest day of your life, even if there is a lot going on that's far from the truth. But now there is no problem of being the truth because we are in a different world, in a world called Shabbat. And after many, many Shabbatot that we practice and we practice and we practice, we could learn how to think like that. And then we could take it into the weekday also, wherever there is things that we cannot change anyways. And therefore we could take that strength that we taught ourselves how to relax when things are not relaxing, be happy when things are not so happy, and so on. We could do that at any given moment. Why? Because we learned that on Shabbat. And Bezat Hashem, the idea that we spoke about, that Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam, that we must think the world was created just for me, to give me a platform to reach my highest. The entire world. Imagine the nicest places in the world. Antarctica and the falls, the Iguazu Falls. And you think of the nicest places you've seen. It was all created for me, even if I'll never get to see them, to give me a platform to perform. So that makes me obligated, but the fact that I'm obligated, that doesn't mean that I should beat myself up. Why? Because it doesn't help. Just like with a child when he's doing nothing, if you tell him you're doing nothing, you're good for nothing, what's going to come out of him? And nothing. So with ourselves, the same way. We did nothing, tell yourself, good, you rested, now you could work. And this is the way we talk to ourselves. And every Shabbat, we should really take the Shabbat as a time that, it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in 7 days. But if we say that on Shabbat, there is nothing to do, so why don't we say 6 days of creation? Why do we call Shabbat as a day of creation? And the answer is that on Shabbat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Menucha. That was a creation. Lishbot, to rest, to cease, that's a creation. That it wasn't there in the first 6 days. And that is something that is not easy. And most of us can testify that it's not an easy thing for us to be able to say, nothing is happening. It's all good. It's all good. Nothing to worry about, nothing hurts, nothing is concerning, nothing. It's all perfect. It's a very big, it's gadlut, it's greatness to get there. Bezat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us that we should be able to get there and learn to enjoy every Shabbat, and from there to learn to enjoy our life. And that would lead us to be able to enjoy our Olam Haba also, which is eternal. So if we learn how to enjoy, have peace, inner peace, and enjoy our life, then we will be able to enjoy eternity too, Bezat Hashem. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. The class started at 8 or 8:30?
8.
Oh, it was 8. I'm okay.
Why? Was it supposed to start at 8:30? Did I make a mistake?
I think it said 8:30. I don't know if
Ooh la la.
Thank you.
maybe I made a mistake. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I don't know what happened to me. Okay.
Then
Yes, it says
continue.
8:30.
Yes. My big apologies. Big apologies.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, I missed it.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I guess I confused everyone when I said class is starting now. Ooh la la.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
They're gonna have recording, yes?
Yes, Bezat Hashem.
Thank you so
And
much.
my apologies. I'm so sorry.
No
I
problem.
don't know I don't know how that happened to me. Sorry.
It's okay. I listened to the recording. Thank you so much. Have a
I
good
guess
night.
it's because my husband didn't come home tonight for supper. So I lost my timing a little bit.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you for saying it. Otherwise, maybe I would have done the same mistake tomorrow night.
It's okay.
Good night.
Good night.